Niandangesa Muayenda Nuai Hainda Yohan Niandihea Tingati Honde Moinda Haino Eayeha. I'm practicing soul language, which boils down actually to letting sound flow through my throat and not having any mind involved. And the funny thing is that I realized that at certain points in my life, this happens freely, like spontaneously, and I clearly remember where it was the first time this happened. I was under the shower in our first home, and with my husband and myself. And I started singing, and I started making these sounds and saying words that I didn't understand, or a language I had never heard, but that felt so familiar. And it felt really good. At the same time, I thought, like, what is this? What's happening to me? And that's, many years later only it happened again. And I kind of realize now that it's something that I probably did as a child. And when I was now going back to my recordings, I saw there are recordings dating back from 2020. And I didn't know what it was, so I pushed to listen. And it was my youngest son who had recorded himself when he was 7 or 8, something like that. And in one of the recordings, he's also just letting sound come, and he's like, it's the most funny recording actually. And it made me smile because right now he would sing his favorite song of his favorite singer, and he wouldn't let the soul language come out anymore, I think. But at that age, he was still in touch with it, or he wasn't yet reproducing songs from other people. And I'm sitting here having a beautiful view on the dark morning, because it's still early and it's still winter. In a couple of months, it will be bright at this moment. And the entire night, it's been very stormy, lots of wind and rain, and it woke me up. And I'm a very good sleeper, so I barely wake up in the night. And I was afraid for things to happen, that, I don't know, that we would have damage at the construction works, or things would be flying around and making damage. So I was a bit restless about the wind. And then I calmed myself down and I thought, no, wind is a good thing. Wind equals change and new ways, and it's good for us. It's good for us, and trust that everything will be fine. I mean, even if there's a setback because the wind was a bit too enthusiastic, it will always be fine. We can always find a solution. And then this morning my alarm went, and I didn't get up immediately, but then my dog started barking like really a lot, and she probably was restless about the wind as well, so I had to come down and calm her. And I saw the clouds. It's like white clouds in a dark sky passing by very quickly, and it looked so beautiful. So instead of doing a meditation and closing my eyes, I just sit here rocking in my chair, watching the white clouds passing over a dark sky. I don't see stars, and the moon, well, it's no moon. So yesterday I was surprised by the smallest sliver of moon that suddenly came a bit later even. I was really surprised by it. It was beautiful and at a position that I usually don't see it. Low on the horizon. And I wrote a text to my friends that if they were awake, they should go and look outside. And nobody did that, I think. So I was thinking like, okay, you keep repeating until people will start looking to the moon and to nature, and maybe someday we'll all be back connected to nature. Because it's been told already so many times now, and so many wise people are telling us that we are nature, and that in order to find ourselves and to create balance in this world, that we have to remind ourselves that we are nature. Because reconnecting to the trees, to the flowers, to the moss, to the animals, will reconnect us to ourselves. And then only from that position we're able to reach out to other humans. I find it such a incredible thing that even though so much is spreading now about the interconnectedness, that we are still living in such an individualistic world. I live in my little bubble where I see the connectedness, and then I'm surprised each time to see it's not happening out there, only in other bubbles. And it's always seen as a bad thing, like you live in that little bubble and it's all peace and love there. But the real world, it's a different story, and we know about it. Yeah. And I've never tried to explain myself or justify myself, because deep down I know there is not a need to do that. I mean, why should I justify that I'm not taking in any news information if people who are doing that don't justify that? So what is better, taking it in or not? We don't have the answer. All I know is that I don't need to take it in to know what is happening out there. It's repeating itself over and over again. And I was watching this series on Netflix with my boy, and I told him I don't want to see anything about like violent or anything that's like about jealousy and people being mean to each other, so that I don't consume more of that through even fiction series. And he was surprised, but now we're like always looking for something that is erasing that stuff. And well, we came out on science fiction series and movies. So now we have been watching all these movies about the future, where people escape the earth because the earth is burning and they need to find another planet where we can live, and etc. And well, in one of those series there is also this whole thinking about like history repeating itself, and one of the main characters is an history teacher, and he's like, yeah, I always teach my students that history is a line that goes upwards, but now I know it's a circle. And I knew he was going to say that, so I was like, oh, okay, so slowly but surely we are able to take in new views, new points. I'm not saying truths, but new ways of watching the world, seeing the world. And if we take in news and read about the wars or the presidents that are installed at this point, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. So I can as well go back to the history lessons and see that we keep doing the same things. And that we omit or that we overlook to look at what we can do from our small lives where we are planted and just do small things. And I'm convinced that that is what I can do small things and not get all worked up by this outer world. And you can call me naive or idealistic or anything of that sort. But to me, it's the only way that works. And I've fully embraced that since not so long. So every day again, I repeat to myself and to my family in silence, I send them all what I can give, and that is love. That's like the purest form of it. And if we start in this family unit with it, with installing love and not the dualities, then we can be a small place of harmony, balance, and maybe be inspiring others. And I remember my first time I thought about this was during COVID, when we were having a lot of tension inside this home. And at some point I thought, like, today is the day. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not pulling that outer world, the dualities and the wars that are happening out of this home, inside my home. My home will not be affected by it. And I will protect it as a warrior. And there's nothing that proves that it will help us to fight a war inside a family unit about different opinions, different ways of looking at the world. It has no use. So this is my small little whisper of today, to think about it. How can you, in the place where you live, whether it's with family, other people, or by yourself, how you can be that seed of love, that inspiration to let a fully grown tree be the change maker, a tree that is grown solely from love.